USAA knows dynamic duos can save the day, like superheroes and sidekicks or auto and home insurance. With USAA, you can bundle your auto and home and save up to 10%. Learn more and get a quote at USAA.com/bundle. Restrictions apply.
Brooks Running reminds us that we're all powered by something. Whether it's the me-time energy of a run after a day at the office, the electrifying energy of your first marathon, or the infectious energy of a group run with your friends. No matter what energy powers you, Brooks has gear specifically designed to unleash it. So lace up and let it out. Let's run there. Visit brooksrunning.com today to learn more.
And welcome back to the Boundary Corner podcast, along with my partners, Brian Siegler, Jonathan Talley, and Shelton Moss. I am Curtis Wilson. We are a part of the College Huddle Network, and this episode is brought to you by Dr. Jeremy Counts down at Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street, Blacksburg, Virginia. Well, look, everybody decided to show up this week. What y'all doing?
Hey. Full force, baby. Full force.
Like Voltron. Came together. Ready to fuck some shit up. All right. Like, let's go figure it out. We had a week off. We didn't have a week off, but the Hokies had a week off. Yeah, no. We definitely didn't have no week off.
And
Brian, you got a promotion, right?
I did. We're not going to go too in depth on that yet because it still hadn't been officially announced on some channels.
My bad.
Yeah, we're excited though. It's a good thing. It's a very good thing, and I'm very excited about it. So we'll make that official next go round. But it's been a much needed bye, as Steven said there. I think the team needed a bye. I think the fans needed to cool off a little bit because. We were hot after that last one, and it doesn't really get any easier this week. So we got a road trip down to Durham, 7-3 Duke. It's gonna be a test.
It is Wallace Wade Stadium, Saturday night, 8:00. Get everything ready. At least it's at night. Maybe I can enjoy a little bit of the day. Maybe not tonight. But at least a little bit part of the day I can enjoy it. I hate 3:30s. I'm going to tell you. For my health, a 3:30 game is the absolute worst.
If I'm at the game, I love 3:30. If I'm watching it at home, I hate 3:30.
Screw a 3:30. So, yeah. Shelton, you're awful quiet down there. How's everything going in the new apartment and the new digs?
It's been great, man. I'm here in the Berg, the East Coast Berg, Williamsburg, Virginia. So kind of getting settled in here to the new job, new place. So I like it a lot. Got some downtime, so I will be in attendance this weekend at Wallace Wade Stadium. I've never been to a game there. I've been to the campus once, but I've never been to a game there, so that'll be pretty exciting. I can't wait to go.
BCP on site. Shelton, are you gonna be in the booth?
Nope, I'm going as a fan.
And as a fan this week, going to sit in the fan or in the stadium, not up in the booth. That is awesome to hear. Well, as Brian said a few minutes ago, we did not have a game last week. Again, much of the detriment or good to everybody's health here. So there are no truths to tell. Maybe some lies later on, but no truths to tell right now. So what we're going to do is we're going to kick it right off. We have a podcast colleague of sorts, you can say, who's going to tell us a little bit about Know the Enemy with Duke. And we've got, let me pull them on here. We've got Ben Byrd, who is with Duke Bull City Coordinators. Ben, how are you doing tonight, man? Ben, you're on mute.
I got you here.
Control. There we go.
Sorry about that. I'm doing well. How are you guys doing?
Doing great, man. Glad for you to join us. And as we were chatting offline here before we punched live, we found out that Ben knows one of our good buddies, our music man Jason Long. So it's funny how small the world can get when you reach out and connect with different people in the sports world, and all of a sudden you know somebody that was neighbors with somebody you've known since middle school.
Yeah, that's right. Jason and Liz and my wife, we all knew each other, used to live next to each other, saw each other a couple of weekends ago, had a good time. And so one of the good things about being in Roanoke is you get to know everybody.
There you go.
Jason advised me and Brian here in a text that it was a porch picking party where y'all called up a little music there.
That's correct. We played some old time tunes. There were 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 of us.
Nice. Good to hear.
What do you play?
I play guitar. I play rhythm guitar.
Okay, nice.
Very nice. So, Ben, obviously, we were talking a little bit before. You've been doing this about 5 years. Give a little background about yourself and how, because you're a one-man operation, right?
Yes. Right. So the website's Bull City Coordinators, and you can find me on most social media accounts at Duke FB Coverage. I started doing this in 2019 when the Cutcliffe era started going off the rails after the jump pass against North Carolina.
Oh.
Over time, it evolved into a podcast because I got tired of writing angry, frustrated complaints on the internet. I just didn't think that was really productive. So I tried to be a little bit more positive, a little more upbeat. And that resulted in podcasting where I was interviewing former players. After that, I got to a point where I started interviewing last season more journalists and having other bloggers and podcasters who cover teams come on, which led into being on the part of the College Huddle Network, which you guys are as well. So that's kind of what it's evolved into. I'm altering the format again because of unplanned evolutions of things. My podcast has a spinoff called the Classical Antiquity Side Quest, in which I interview professors of various periods of time throughout ancient Rome and Greece. And the accounts for those on social media, I deleted the Twitter account for it because it was just getting spammed by bots. It's really annoying. But on Blue Sky, it's Antiquity Pod, and I've gotten a lot of traction over there. So if you want to find me, go check out Antiquity Pod on Blue Sky. And the Blue Sky Classics thing is real. It's big, and there's almost, I'm not getting barraged by pornography bots like I was on Twitter. It's worked out pretty well. So,
all right.
You can subscribe, like and subscribe at our YouTube channel to both the podcasts.
Nice. So you got a couple history majors on here as well. So that definitely you got some interest peaked with that. So always fun to like kind of mix a little bit of everything in your social media persona there, and kind of bring in all your passions into one place. So I can appreciate that. So we got a game this weekend, and we got with you. We're like, hey, you want to come on, talk a little bit about
what your team does well, some areas that they can improve, and kind of help us preview what to expect this Saturday. So we'll kick it off with defense first. You got defensive coordinator Jonathan Parker. You got Manny Diaz has obviously got his fingerprints, his DNA all over that defense. Tell us a little bit about what the defense is about from a scheme perspective, and kind of what some of the strengths and weaknesses are of that scheme.
Well, as far as the scheme, what Jonathan Patke does and Manny Diaz do is they get after the ball aggressively. They bring pressure at the right time. They kind of confuse their blitzes and their coverages. But I think primarily what you see is a lot of the plays that they have had a lot of success on are more coaching small techniques like punching the ball out, generating turnovers, things like that. Tackling is really good. You're seeing a lot of 4-2 base defenses. The secondary has been a lot. I thought they were going to be okay, but it's been a lot better than I've expected, primarily because Terry Moore, who's a converted running back at safety, just has been in the right spot a lot. And I know they say you can coach that, but really you can't because the ball's got to happen to go there too and then deflect the right way and land in his hands. It's just been, for the Blue Devil fans out there and the guys who might remember Devon Edwards' 2013 season where he was always in the right place at the right time, that didn't get repeated. He still had great plays, but it wasn't like that again, okay? Chandler Rivers has been a big help. So is Kendi Charles. The linebackers, Nicholas Bergeron, Howard, Freeman, all those guys have been playing great. But this is a defense that just brings pressure, is aggressive on every down, and likes to get after either the quarterback or the running back behind the line of scrimmage. I think we're leading the nation in tackles for loss. We're right at the top. Against NC State, the first 2 plays of scrimmage for the Wolfpack were tackles for loss, one of which was a safety. This unit's going to get after you. And like a lot of teams, you have a running quarterback, it's going to cause problems. But overall, Dukes and Ben don't break defense and will make plays.
All right, let's talk about that pressure, because when I started looking at it in the games I watched, plus just looking at the stats and data, Wesley Williams jumped out. He had a great game against NC State coming off the edge there, creating pressure sacks. You're also right, Duke is 3rd in the nation in tackles for loss. When you watch him, what do you feel his best pass rush move is?
Yeah, it's hard to say because I don't pay to subscribe to watch and break the videos down and really slow it down. But what those guys do generally is they're just fast. They're in great shape, and I think it's primarily through Coach Feely, what most places call strength and conditioning. I think Duke calls it athletic performance. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. Who cares? Yeah. I don't want to upset the Duke football account that's following me on my Blue Sky account now, but who gives a shit what terminology we use for it? Okay. Really. So
it is what it is, right?
Right. They're just really fast and really strong. And one of the things they talk about in the fourth quarter is dragging teams into the sewer, which is not a reference to It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia and Charlie and those guys going down in the sewer. Okay. It's a reference to, we are going to bring you down here. We're going to get dirty. We're going to get physical. We're going to beat you. Okay. And so what you have to look out for is a lot of Duke teams historically, as the season went on and late in games, would tire out. Okay. They would tire out because they were exhausted, because they didn't have a lot of depth. The strength and conditioning wasn't as good, and they wouldn't be able to compete through all 4 quarters, much less all 4 parts of the season, right? But that's not the case now. I was talking to Steve Weissman at the News and Observer on our podcast recently. This team's got like 7 guys who can play on the line, and that's unheard of for a Duke team. They rotate guys in and out, give them chances to play. So I'm way off of your question, but I think what Williams is really good at in the rest of the line is that just being physically strong and fast and not tiring out and getting worn out.
Good stuff. So you got Williams out there. Who else should we kind of look out for on that defensive line for Duke?
One guy who's come along real well as the season has gone on is Kendi Charles. Not that he started slow or anything, but you could tell he was making his presence felt there. Early, it may not have been shown up in the stat line, but the last several games, the guy's just been doing really well. He is a guy that you have got to control right there in the middle. He was a transfer coming in from Liberty, and he has really, really played well. I mean, he would be a guy that you've got to find a way to slow down and double or something to keep him from getting at the quarterback or getting into where the running back's going to be, getting the handoff on any RPO you're trying to run.
Nice. We'll pivot on the linebackers here. Oh, go ahead, Curtis. What you got?
Oh, no. I was going to actually ask about the linebackers too. Go ahead, Brian.
Yeah, I was going to say, so you kind of talked about, transfers there. And, I want to talk to you a little bit about that because it looks like, Duke, at least over the last several years, going back to Elko and now also with Manny Diaz, really hitting the transfer portal pretty heavy to fill the depth pieces, kind of those first and second lines on the roster there, and you got a couple more at the linebacker position there with what Howard and Nicholas, correct? So
right,
looking at those guys and just thinking about how Duke has been pretty successful in the last few years with kind of backfilling these positions through the portal, and then you compare that to what's happened elsewhere. A lot of success considering the number of replacements there, but these linebackers along with Bergeron and Freeman, from a statistical standpoint, they're all kind of jumbled in together there a little bit. Kind of who's the biggest key to a successful game from the linebacker position?
Well, I think you got to be looking at a guy like Ozzie Nicholas. He has played really well. He came in from Princeton. He's really smart. He can knock the ball loose. He can make some plays. He's been hurt a couple of times this year. Nick Morris, I can't remember the last time he played, and there was some concern about not having him available, but the other guys have stepped in and played very, very well. And Freeman, not that Freeman has played poorly or anything, but it was to some extent a 1.5 man show last year with him, and everybody was kind of looking at Freeman as he was going to be the guy to do everything. And I'm not knocking him, but the other folks have really done a lot more as far as noticeable impact plays. But Freeman's a guy that can go in and get you 10 tackles easy a game. I think it's just part of the system that's designed, and nobody's upset about it. But those guys can play really, really well. Bergeron too, but Nicholas is a guy that you've got to watch out for if you're Virginia Tech.
All right, note taken. That'd be Ozzie Nicholas. So you gave us a lot of good points about the defense there. You took my question away on Moore and Rivers because obviously those two guys popped out, and you telling me I'm worried about Terry Moore because of the way you talked about how he gets in there and the way when I think of that, and I know Terry's a safety. Like, that's the guy coming up in the line doing that, knocking it loose. And, he's already, I believe, I'm not mistaken, he's already got a couple forced fumbles this year along with picks. So
a lot of picks.
You answered my question for me in your monologue there at the beginning, Ben. So let's kick off. Obviously, we know y'all have got a really good defense because that's Manny's 4-8. I want to go to the offensive side of the ball. Offensive coordinator Jonathan Brewer. Scheme, what does he do? What do you like? What do you dislike when you look at this offense?
And one thing before we get to that, I do want to say watch out for Chandler Rivers in the secondary. He will do something in this game on Saturday. At least one play. If you throw to him, he will find a way to make you pay for it. But to turn to the offense, Brewer runs a system that's very similar to what is run at SMU with one critical exception, which is Malik Murphy does not run the ball.
Okay.
He does not run much. Just it's not who he is. So he did get a rushing touchdown. It was ugly, but it was still a rushing touchdown against NC State. He's run a little bit more as the season has gone on. Earlier this season, there was a lot of get the ball out and get it out fast, but there have been injuries at the tight end position, which have slowed things down as far as how quickly the offense would like to go, because some of those routes over the middle are not there. I'm not trying to critique a third string guy, but he's third string for a reason, and you can't expect him to be as developed and talented as well. Talent's not the right word, but you can't expect him to put on the show that Nicky Dalmolin was capable of putting on. I think Dalmolin was a fifth-year returning senior before, unfortunately, his college career came to an end with a bad injury. So that slowed things down some. They do like to throw to the tight end. Jake Taylor's getting more comfortable, so we'll see. He's gotten a lot better. He didn't play much last year, and honestly, he wasn't slotted to play a whole lot this year. So how fast you can bring him along, next year he could take that big leap. He's just got a lot he's got to learn. It's a new system, new coaching staff. It's a lot for the guy. But the rest of the offense, you've got really good receivers with Eli Pankel, with obviously Jordan Moore, who made a great catch against Miami, that one-handed grab, and then the catch against NC State for the touchdown. Those guys are really, really good. And then to keep with an Inside Duke Football Online joke, don't sell your Samir Hagan stock. It's rising, okay? He's really fast. He can get on some underneath routes. He can burn you, and he can be right where he needs to be. I don't want to say the ball's been spread around a whole lot this year because Jordan Moore's had been on a pitch count for a long time, which impacted the rest of the offense and what could happen. But as long as he's healthy, I expect the ball to be thrown around a lot because the offense is going to gravitate – or the defense, is going to gravitate towards Jordan Moore, which is going to open up Eli Pankel, which is going to open up Samir Hagens and some of the other guys to perhaps get some touches. And then it's going to come down to the running game and how successful that can be, which is a little bit of a longer discussion.
All right. You highlight Jordan Moore there. What is he what is his best attribute? What is he when you look at him, what's the thing he's going to do that's going to hurt you the most?
Well, with Jordan Moore, it's his, one of the things that I like about what Brewer is doing, because I didn't really fully answer that question, and I apologize. I think Brewer's doing a really good job, and how you utilize Jordan Moore is a good example of that, even with the injuries this team has had to navigate. What Jordan Moore can do is get down the field, he can get open, and he can go up and get the ball if it's thrown high. He's hard to defend. He is a converted quarterback. Years ago in a spring game under Cutcliffe, I saw him with the offense, and I said, this guy's going to be special. He's got it. There's just something about him. I didn't think he was going to be this good, mind you, but I thought he was going to be a good player at Duke, and he turned out to be. He's hard to defend. He can go up and get the ball, and that's what Brewer likes to do. And, there's been some complaints about Brewer this year, but I think when Jordan Moore is healthy, this offense looks a lot better, and you can see what Brewer wants to do with the ball, which is spread it over the field, take shots down the field to open up the run game, and really let the quarterback air it out at times. So if you see man coverage, if you see single man coverage, watch that ball go deep.
Callie, go ahead, man. You were freezing as you're about to ask your question.
Oh, yeah. You know how it is, internet crazy down here, but I was just going to ask about the offensive line when you talk about the running game. Murphy's had a pretty good year. Offensive coordinator has really utilized, you guys' talents that you have there. So how does your offensive line kind of work, and who's the key to the offensive line?
Yeah, that is a really good question. I don't know how best to answer that. The offensive line has been a little bit of a work in progress because there were a lot of new guys coming in. But there's been guys like Pickett on the line who've been very good, who've been playing very well. Bruno Fina's been there as well. And there's a good number of other guys. And actually what we saw against NC State was the line they had 6 guys on the line to help with pass blocking and some of the down the field routes. And it worked. I don't know how much we're going to see that again. I think that was more of a calculated choice just to throw the ball against State, but we'll see. The offensive line, I don't want to say has done poorly, but what we saw for a good part of the season was this focus on shutting the run game down and making Murphy beat you with the pass. Mm-hmm. So Star Thomas has done well at times. Peyton Jones, who I think is going to play at times. Jaquez Moore may actually play this game. It's unclear. He's going to redshirt, but he's got one more game of eligibility, so it'll either be this game or Wake if he plays. It could just be fluff from the coaching staff. Who knows? But I think for the offensive line to do well, it's going to depend to some extent on what Virginia Tech decides to do. If Virginia Tech says, we're just going to load up the box, put 8 guys in the box, okay, and we're going to bring our safeties down, it's going to be hard to run against that. I don't care how good of a line you are. Right. But if the safeties drop back, like Carolina, like in the Carolina game, where there were 2 high safeties, Star Thomas and Peyton Jones, who should be back from his injury that he suffered against State. Excuse me. I expect some success there running the ball, especially if Murphy keeps it on 1 or 2 RPOs. If he keeps it and then the Hokie defense has to be honest, that's going to really help the offensive line. If he decides he doesn't want to run, then they just key in on the running back. We'll see. So I think how well the offensive line is going to do is going to be more a focus of what the Hokies' defensive strategy is going to be. Mm-hmm. If the Hokies say, we're going to make you throw to beat us, the offensive line will pass block. They're very good at that. That unit's good at that. But how much you're going to be able to run out of that if you've got 7 or 8 guys in the box all night, I don't know.
Sheldon, you had something you wanted to add, right?
Yeah, so, typically when we play a new team, I like to look at kind of the stats, advanced stats, and kind of see what they do well, what they don't do so well. So looking at Duke, the one thing that stands out to me on offense, 3rd and 4th down conversion rate put together, they rank 132nd, just 29% on those late downs. Now, as we know, a lot of it has to do with the distance that you're facing on 3rd downs. If you're in 3rd and long, obviously much less likely that you convert the down. From your perspective, I know the O-line struggled a little bit. Running game hasn't been super efficient. What do you think has been the big bugaboo on 3rd downs and why Duke has just been so incredibly inefficient there?
I think a lot of it probably early in the season has been struggling to get the field position that you'd like. There was a lot of incomplete run for 2 yards and then you're in 3rd and 8, or run for 3 yards, you're in 3rd and 7. That's had a lot to do with it. I also think, again, Murphy is still pretty darn young, and he's developing. He's developing and growing as a quarterback, and he's looking more comfortable with each game. So I think that's had a lot to do with it. I don't think historically Duke has been particularly good on those yards for a while. I'd have to go back and look because I try not to get too crazy into those kind of statistics. But I think that has a lot to do with it. I'm looking at the box score from last game. I'm trying to pull it up here, but this might be accurate. Duke was 0 of 9 on 3rd down. That's hard to believe, but wow.
Good.
Yeah. No, it's not. I think it's probably more a game of an issue of field position more than anything else.
Yeah.
And as far as where they are on those down and distances, they can, when they want to, well, I could go on a long tangent about not putting quarterbacks under center. I'm not going to do that. I won't, but I do think some of that plays into it, although they did put Murphy under center a couple of times. That could change a little bit this week, though, on some of those 3rd down plays, because last game Grayson Loftus came in for a play or two and ran the ball. It would not surprise me if we see a small Loftus or Beelan package for backups. Loftus is going to redshirt this year. He can play these next 2 games, and he can come in and be like a Thomas Sirk or Brandon Connett type. And if that happens, then you're looking at a very different dynamic. Loftus is a little bit of a gunslinger, too. He can throw better than Sirk or Connett could, I think. But he can run real well, too.
Okay. Let me ask this, Ben, and does it give you pause for concern that the only game this year that Duke played against a top 5 pass rush was against Carolina? A top 25 pass rush was Carolina, allowed 5 sacks in that game. When you start hearing APR, you start hearing the names of Virginia Tech, currently 10th. How much does that give you a concern? Because I look at Duke's numbers, it's like, wow, that's a great pass rush. And then I looked at the Carolina game, and it's like, that's the best pass rush they've seen. Malik Murphy was on his back a lot during that game.
I have a hard time believing North Carolina's pass rush was that good. Is that accurate? I'm not doubting you, but
North Carolina ranks, I'll get it for you right here, in team sacks. They are – I got to get it back to it because it was on another screen, of course. They are the 5th rated pass rush or team sacks in the country. Tech's 10th.
On the Carolina one, I think we got to get a recount on that.
Count the
Sheldon, pull the data for me, man.
No. I looked it up. I'm not questioning it. That just kind of speaks to.
It doesn't feel like it. I agree with you from that perspective.
Coordinator there, it was at Georgia Tech. We call him a can of tuna online. Jeff Collins.
Oh, Jeff Collins.
It seems like, the can of tuna's team should be doing a little bit better with that soft schedule that they've had all season. The thing that worries me about playing Virginia Tech is Virginia Tech always has a lot of talent. They always have tall guys in the secondary. I think, though, Murphy, we were at that game. The offense struggled early, but picked it up late. And he's a different quarterback, I think, now than he was at the beginning of the season. I'm not too worried about the Carolina game as a reference point for it, but I am worried about anytime you play Virginia Tech, there's always a good deal of talent there that you have to be worried about, right? That's what worries me about it more than anything else. Is just the talent level that Virginia Tech will always have or should always have.
You know what? It's always fun to have someone on that can shit on Carolina with you. So,
look,
thank
man,
you.
I'm gonna say it. Look, this was a year. People are talking about, oh, Carolina's turned a corner. They're back. If they don't win 8 games, there's no excuse for it. They haven't played. If they had Georgia Tech's schedule right now, they would not have won a game. They would not have won a game. We know this. Come on, let's be real.
Yeah, when our friend from Georgia Tech from Rec Talk was on here, he got the whole Jeff Collins thing rolling. So it's been a fun year to kind of shit on the UNC defense, despite them apparently being a fairly good team when it comes to team sacks, though apparently most of those came against UVA and I guess Duke at this point, if we're looking at the accumulated sacks, though. But you talked a lot about Malik Murphy and kind of what he does with his legs, or in this case doesn't do with his legs. I mean, he looks like he's a pretty good athlete when he does decide to run, but it just doesn't look like it's motivated part of his game. So talk about that a little bit.
I wouldn't quite put it that way. When he runs, it's not pretty. I
say a little bit of wiggle. I'm not necessarily saying he looks like he's going to go out there and win a track meet or anything.
I appreciate that you're trying to put a positive spin on it, but it does not look. You remember when Charlie Batch couldn't slide?
Okay. All right. That's fair.
It's like that, except Charlie Batch had a more natural running motion to him. So,
a little hitch in the giddy up?
I don't want to quite say it's like Luigi in Mario 2 with the weird jump legs, but it never looks good when Murphy is running. So, but that's not what he's there. That's not what he's there for. Okay, that's not what he's there for. But what he can do, he can throw the ball deep. He can put touch on it. He can move the ball all over the field. He can hit short routes. He can hit long routes. He's very good at throwing the football. And if he sees single man coverage, he's going to give his receivers a shot. So He's a guy you got to worry about, and he has run some, and I think that is something that if he does just a couple of times a game, the defense is going to have to keep honest. But he's been it took him a little bit to get his sea legs under him, and I think he's got them under him now these last several games. So I think we're all excited about it. If you look at how he played, the Florida State game was more by design. He didn't do a lot, but SMU, Miami, and NC State, he's had 3 really good games. I know with Miami, he had the picks. I think 1 or 2 of those might have been bounces, deflections off hands of receivers. That happens sometimes. So he's looked a lot better of late.
Yeah, and he, looking at him throw the ball, I mean, he's got a cannon of a right arm, so the ball definitely gets out there, and he can make all those throws. So if he can give us, any sort of trouble with the decoy with his legs there, I think that could be interesting and open some things up for you guys, both in the running game and the passing game.
Yeah.
Right.
Hey, Ben, as we kind of wrap it up here, and you kind of look to Saturday night, what's your one big key? Like, as you're sitting here, it's probably going to be 11:15, and the big key, one way or the other, is?
Not to simplify it, but turnovers and field position. I think the team that can control the turnovers, again, this is groundbreaking stuff. No one will tell you this, right? This is football's a lot simpler than we like it to be. But I think the team that controls the turnover battle and particularly the field position, the field position can come in a number of different ways. It can be done by pushing the Hokies back by tackles for loss, or it can be done by the kicking game. So those are the 2 things I'll be watching come Saturday primarily. I mean, if Duke's in that backfield causing havoc, I think it's going to be a good evening. It's going to be a good night for the Blue Devils. Not so much of a good night for my buddy Chris, who's coming down to the game with me, but we'll see. He's a Hokie.
Hey, you're in Hokie country there in Roanoke, so it's probably a bunch of your buddies wear the maroon and orange on a regular basis.
Good number of them.
We hear, man. Well, listen, I mean, you tell the truth about that, man, because, Duke, you guys, your turnover margin is top 5 in the country. Your turnover gained is top 5 in the country. So, I don't think you're lying about that whatsoever. But, Ben, man, it's been a pleasure talking with you tonight. Real quick, give you one more time, tell everybody where they can find you, social media, websites, all that good stuff.
All right, before I do that, I just want to say one thing about comparative schedules for North Carolina and Georgia Tech. Go back to my point for this fraud Tar Heel team. They played Minnesota, whoop-de-frickin-do, okay? Charlotte, North Carolina Central, I'm not going to knock those guys. I love them. James Madison in a program transitional year, okay?
In a basketball game.
Exactly. And some Carolina fan before the Duke game tried to talk smack to us about it. I said, we're going for 71. Shut your mouth. And then the only games that they have had to play that are tough this year, okay, that you look at the schedule are Duke, Pitt, Georgia Tech, okay? Now, Georgia Tech had to go to your house, right, to play Virginia Tech.
Yep.
Who does North Carolina get instead? Virginia, the Cavaliers. Not a real football team. Come on, let's be honest.
Things we can agree on.
Wearing pants.
Things we can agree on.
All right. I mean, for real, just compare those schedules. This was all the ACC helping Mac Brown out. Pathetic. Just disgusting. Anyway. All right. So where can you find us? Or find me. You can find me at bullcitycoordinators.com. Check out the YouTube channel, which I think is at Duke FB Coverage. Most all the socials are there. You can get both the podcasts, the Bull City Coordinators Duke Football Coverage Podcast, and the Classical Antiquity Side Quest, which covers topics from ancient Greece and Rome. We do about 1 episode a month. I've got 2 I need to edit. And a couple more I need to record that'll get me into next year. And on the socials for that one, primarily just Blue Sky at Antiquity Pod. For the 3 of you who are decentralized weirdos who hate over control of technology, I have Mastodon accounts. I don't really do a whole lot with it, but at Duke FB coverage on Mastodon and at Antiquity Pod on Mastodon as well. And the Instagram account for Duke football coverage just has both. I don't have two Instagram accounts. So that if you just check out pretty much any social at Duke FB coverage or at Antiquity Pod, it's a great merging of football and the classics. So you can hopefully find something that you enjoy. I got interested in ancient Rome later in life, so it's just kind of something I picked up in my 30s.
Nice. Always good to have a little bit of a passion project, especially when you pick up a little bit later in life.
Especially when you deal with the typical misery of Duke football over the years.
Oh, man. Ben, we again appreciate you having on. Thank you for making us laugh. Thank you for making us say fuck UVA, fuck Carolina, because we appreciate that. And maybe the next time when we roll through Roanoke, we'll hit up Jason. We'll hit up you and go to, what is it, the food truck, Mama Jean's? Is Mama Jean's the food truck? Oh, man. That's right.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. I stumbled them on Facebook one day, and their food looks amazing. So I'm going to find that truck next time I go to Roanoke.
There you go. Well, that'd be good. I'd love to catch up with you guys. And Shelton, you said you were coming to the game.
That's correct.
I'll be there. Let me check real quick. See where I'm sitting. I think I'll be in. Yeah, I'll be in section 30 near the top.
30. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want to swing by, I'll say hello.
Will do.
All right.
Awesome, Ben. Well, appreciate the time, and you have a good evening.
All right. You guys too.
Thanks, Ben.
Thanks for having me on.
Appreciate it, Ben. Yes, sir.
All right, Ben. Thank you.
All righty, guys. There was Ben Byrd with Bull City Coordinators. So go check him out. Again, small world. It's really hilarious. You start talking to somebody and they know somebody you've known literally your whole life. We probably could point Des it is. That's why Jason's going to take us there next time we're down in Roanoke. But to be for real now, like that's the funnest part about doing this. We always run into people that somehow know somebody we know in some way, shape, or form, and that's why I love doing it. Ben was great. A lot of good info there. So as we normally do after we get to know the enemy, and Ben did a great job talking about a lot of key players, some maybe little wrinkles we might see from Duke, we've got to talk about the Hokies keys on Saturday night down in Durham. And Shelton, I'm going to start with you first. What do you have? What is the key to this game at a 5-5 Hokies attempt to get bowl eligible into Bull City?
I mean, well, the biggest key, I guess, is motivation because, you're a 500 football team playing for bowl eligibility. If you lose this one, you never know what can happen next week against UVA. So, just show up motivated, show up like, you want to play and this is what, you're getting paid to do because, these guys are getting paid now. As far as the game itself, I mean, I don't know. I don't think Tech will have trouble stopping the run because I don't think Duke's been very good at all running the football. So I'd say just, if they get stopped fast, I think that make Duke pretty one-dimensional offensively. It's going to be a low-scoring game, so just, don't get beat with a deep ball. That should be a pretty good strategy.
All right. Tally, what about you, man?
Man, I just said, just kind of to piggyback on what Sheldon said, you got to coach and play for your job. You're getting paid. As far as coaches, definitely getting paid. But, players, NIL, you're getting paid as well. So when I say coach and play for your job, coaches, somebody got to go. Somebody got to follow on the knife. If you like being here, fucking do something right and hope it ain't you because somebody got to go at the end of the year. Some players are playing for a position. You know what I'm saying? Because coaches, if they're coaching for their job and you're not getting the job done, they're looking to put somebody else in that spot to go, well, we could have been better if we would have had a better blank, whatever the case may be. Or if this person wouldn't have got hurt and we had somebody to back him up, we could have done this. So players, if we get an opportunity to play when people's hurt, you got to play, Or if you're playing for film to go somewhere else, like you got to have that. You got to get in here and you got to act like it means something and you got to play for your job.
Yeah.
All right. Brian?
Tally makes a great point there, is that, regardless of what next season holds, whether you're here, there, or anywhere else, these still matter, because your tape matters. What you do from a coaching perspective matters. Everything is still, I think, big from that perspective. So don't lose sight of the fact that just because you're only playing for a bowl at this point, that you don't have anything to play for from a big picture standpoint. But the thing I want to talk about, and actually Robbie put it in here, but I had already had it on my notes.
You already had
a while ago, Robbie, so I didn't steal it from you.
No, he didn't.
Have an identity on offense. Have an identity on offense. And to piggyback some on what Ben was talking about, is within that identity, you can't be the offense that turns the ball over in your own territory. You got to make sure that you're taking care of field position, but you also need to make sure that you're an offense that is efficient moving the ball down the field. It doesn't get bogged down in these long periods of just looking completely inept, not leaning on the strengths of your offense, and forgetting the weapons that you have on your offense. We love to see Kyron out there doing Kyron things, but you don't have to run Kyron into a wall to have an offense. We got other weapons out there. We need to lean on those other weapons, and that's whether Kyron plays or not. I know we've got a bunch of questionable designations. Again, we don't really know what that means. When they were probable, they didn't go. When they were questionable, they did, and they probably shouldn't. We'll see who lines up on Saturday for the Hokies at quarterback and running back. But whatever they do, we need to lean on the rushing attack, because that is the identity of this football team from an offensive standpoint.
Yeah, I'm going to throw a couple pieces in here. Some folks putting their thought processes up. Robbie, again, obviously on the defensive side. Yep, pressure.
Hey, this is a big one. Oh, you grabbed one, I grabbed another one.
Go for it. Yep. Look at that. Didn't take long, did it?
I see you out there, Chris.
Tally. We see you, Chris. Tally been saying it. Like, these guys that damn good. Let them play. Josh Young, yep. Josh, you had two on here because there you go. The only thing. What's my key? Well, y'all, we're at freaking game 10 of this year. And
Curtis, hold on. Before you go with your
he
key,
feels it.
I just want to say this so you can wrap it up. When we talk about everything we talked about to the Hokie keys, shirt that we got sent said 3, 7, and then it's a question mark. These next two games are important.
Very.
The bowl game is important if you make it, because you still can sell the program if that number is a certain number. You go with your keys, Curtis. Yep. I just wanted to say that.
There you go. Let Dwight do that. But like I said, we have played 10 games. This is game number 11, as Dwight's putting on the screen there. And I sit here and it's like, I have no more Hokie keys to give. Why? Because I've seen 10 games this year, and in all 10, this team could have won every single one of them. Every single one of them. People say, well, Clemson was. No, they could have won that Clemson game. They could have. People can say, well, it was shut up. They could have won that game. Look at the passion, how hard that defense was playing that game. Look at every game this year. And that's what irritates me as a fan, because if we were 5-5 and we were an average team, it's last year, right? This is good. Hey, we're back on the right track. This is not an average team. This is an above average team with good players. How many Senior Bowl invites? APR didn't get one. You know why APR didn't get one? Because APR is going in the first 2 rounds, and those guys don't go to the Senior Bowl to get their stock numbers up.
Don't need to.
They don't need to. And that's what irritates me. And like when I say, what's the key? Play to your ability. Coach to your ability. Because if you do, you wipe the floor with Duke on Saturday night. And I know, Ben, I loved having you here, but if the Hokie A game and the Duke A game both show up, the Hokies are winning by 17 points. The issue is we brought a bunch of C and a bunch of D games this fucking year, and that's why we're 5-5. And the bad part about it is a lot of those games, the C's and D's didn't show up until the last 5 minutes.
Hey, guys, did you know we were getting a Curtis rant?
We needed it. He's been holding it. It's been we had a bye
Feisty Curtis
stew on it and think about it. Yeah, he had a bye week to kind of stew on it and think about it, and he's right. I mean, if you're playing a team and they just better than you lose, it happens. Oh, we got to do better. We got to coach better. We got to play better. If somebody's hurt, don't fucking play them. Let them go heal. Put somebody else in. If they're on scholarship, they're on scholarship for a reason.
Yep.
Don't put a running back in and never fucking run the ball. It makes no sense.
That pisses me off. Real quick, I'm glad you put this up, Brian. On a very serious note, not only Gabe's leg injury, by all means, that looks like that's just your normal injury. He's going to be okay. If y'all were not aware, Gabe put it up. A young man I consider close to this podcast. When he first committed, we got to interview him. It was awesome. We've communicated with him numerous times. His father fell significantly ill after he got hurt. His father, as of the other day, and somebody might have to keep this up because if anything has changed, his father was in very serious condition down at Roanoke Hospital. So, Stephen, thank you for putting that in there. Do, say a prayer for Gabe, his whole family, as they go through this time. Because I know, knowing Gabe and his passion, that comes from somebody in the family, and it's very likely his dad, about how much he loves the sport and everything. So, yeah.
Talk about a very composed and mature person.
Damn right.
When we spoke with him, definitely well beyond his years in terms of his composure and his passion for the game, and just his ability to kind of understand kind of where he fits in the puzzle and the drive. And like you said, that's got to come from somewhere. So, prayers up to him and prayers up to his family, for healing during this time, man, because that was definitely a big struggle, and I'm hoping that he's making some progress. His dad is, and obviously Gabe with the surgery, on his leg there. So
yeah, Chris just put in the chat. Put that up. Chris just put in the chat. He said that his dad's doing better, and Gabe had a successful surgery today. So that's awesome. That's great to hear, man. And
appreciate it, Chris, for keeping us updated.
Yeah,
man.
definitely that. And like I said, man, of course, prayers up for his family, prayers up for the young man. While we on here talking about coaching and playing and things like that, this is also what sports is about.
It is. Not
people being hurt, but coming together after a tragedy, and that is a big thing, a huge thing for that young man to go through. And when we talk about him being composed and mature, he was the one who came online and put, hey, this is what's going on with my family. Yep. Hey, Hokie Nation, can y'all, pray for us and keep us lifted up? So to have that mindset and to know he has a outlet that he can turn to and a community he can turn to is big. You know what I'm saying? Because some people feel like when stuff like that bad happens, they have nobody. So for all the bad things that we talk about on the field and what it is, I know that Hokie Nation has got their back. I know that God's got their back. So Keep sending them up, man. Keep on praying. Keep on, uplifting these players, especially during times like that. So whoever put that up, thank you, because that definitely needed to be said. And I had forgot all about it when we started to get into the podcast, just rolling through things that we're talking about, rolling through things in our life. So whoever put that up, man, thank you so much for that. Steven,
shout out,
appreciate you,
shout out Stephen Colbert, man. Shout out Stephen.
Yep. Well said.
Let's go here. We got to make predictions, whether we feel good or bad about them, but we've got to do them. Shelton, I'm going to let you kick it off because you are going to the game. You will see it in living color. What do you think happens Saturday night? Great job.
For whatever reason, I think Tech will win. I'll take VT 24-20. I think they'll get a little bit of bounce back, rest off the bye week. I think Drones will play. He'll kind of manage the game pretty well, and Tech will escape with a close W for the first time since the 2022 Liberty game.
Jesus. 2 years to the day. Tally, what about you?
I was gonna go first because I know Shelton was like most of the time. I'm like, why you make me go first? And then Shelton goes after. But I was gonna go first because I want people to think I was copying him. Because like while Ben was talking, I was actively changing my my prediction on the rundown, and I'm going Hokies. I'm going Hokies. I think we get a 10-point win this week. Being disconnected from football for about 2 weeks was great, but I still didn't like have time to myself. But hearing Ben talk, Ben, thank you again for coming on. I think that we match up well with them. I don't know if Kyron will be healthy enough to play, but I do know we have a capable backup. And I think our defense will play inspired enough to get us to some things and get us in some positions that's going to be positive for us. And what I forgot about was People's Legacy game. Let's go.
Yep. That's a good point. That's a good point. I forgot about the People's Legacy game. I like that. I'm going 27-20 good guys here. I think this is the first time that me, Tally, and Sheldon have picked the Hokies in a long time. I know Tally was trying not to break the streak there with the picking against the Hokies when they started winning. But that's burned now. That's burned now.
Burn that to the ground.
So I'm going 27-20 good guys. Much like Tally, I think we match up well. I think their defense is good, but I think we'll be able to do some things to move the ball down the field. And I think our defense is going to play well in this one. I don't think that they're going to burn us on third down like some other teams have. And I don't think that they're going to be able to run the football as effectively as they will need to be effective in this game.
All right. Well. Y'all leave it to me, huh? You gotta leave it to me, huh?
Hey.
Bring it home, Curtis. Let's go.
Bring it home. Well, you know what? I'm much like Tally. I was leaning the other way. And hearing Ben talk, and Ben gave some good information, but I think the Gabe Williams thing, forgetting about that and then being reminded of it, I think that's going to be a rallying cry for this team. And I do think they go down to Durham. I think they take care of business, and I'm agreeing with Shelton on here. I think this is going to be the first time in 2 years. I think it's 2 years to the day if somebody gives that, because it's damn close. If it's not 2 years,
the math is mathing. It's going to be within a couple of days. If it's not to the day.
The same week. 2 years to the day. Hokies take this one 28-20. Effectively, that is a one-score game. Technically, that's a one-score game. Pride gets off on the hook, 28-20. Hokies come back. Gabe Williams rally cry and letting some of these young guys eat. So there we go. There are our predictions. Got a few people throwing in here. Got Steven. I'm going to throw you up here. There we go. Josh saying that. I'd love to see some other predictions as we get up here, as we move on. And as everybody knows, by the way, y'all know we got back-to-back 8 o'clock games.
We do. They just made the announcement, yesterday? About the
I don't feel about that. I don't know how I feel about that.
I'll get to
be nervous all day.
Be nervous all day,
man. Yeah,
all day. I like I said, I can enjoy it. Like, the nerves getting there ain't me. As y'all know, we are brought to you by the Counts Family Pharmacy, your friendly neighborhood pharmacy, 301 South Main Street in Blacksburg. He leads us in every Tuesday night when we're here.
You're the owner of a small business, which means you could use another pair of hands, like the experts at Verizon Small Business Days, August 11th through 17th. Get a free tech check and special deals like a free 5G phone. You know you want one. Call 1-800-483-4428 or visit Verizon.com/smallbusiness to book your appointment. Verizon Business. Available for select 5G phones. New line device payment agreement and select data plan required. Credit applied to account over agreement term up to 36 months. Terms apply. Offer ends 8/17/2025.
This episode is brought to you by LinkedIn. Healthcare professionals can lead their careers with LinkedIn. Discover jobs by specialty, preferred shifts, and even desired salary. From mental health therapists to radiology technicians, it's now faster and easier for healthcare professionals to find the right fit. Learn more at linkedin.com/healthcare. Side effects may include faster job placement, improved work-life balance, and increased career satisfaction.
So normally we do know the enemy. We get over to big screens. We talk about the games. But since we've been a lot of pissed off the last few weeks, we really haven't had a chance to talk about some other dealings in college football, primarily college football playoff. And I know that's going to be a sore subject for some people, but still, I still love college football. I still watch college football. Even though when I'm pissed on Saturday nights and I'm listening to Talleyrand on a space occasionally, I'm usually still watching football when I have all my screens up here. It's just what I do. So we wanted to talk about it. And here's the first thing I wanted to bring up to all three of y'all. There were certain media members that swore to God, this is going to make games matter less. People aren't going to care as much. Well, first of all, I think they're wrong. But what about y'all? How do y'all feel? Do you feel because of the playoff that it makes games matter less?
No, I don't. I definitely don't think it matters less. I think people are tuned in every week like they always have been. And I feel like the college playoffs, along with the transfer portal, brings in some chaos, kind of what college football needed, because we were getting to the point where you feel like this team A, Team B, Team C, and Team D are going to be at the finish line every year. Occasionally, you flip-flop a couple of them, but that top 6 teams to 8 teams, you thought that's all we'll see at the end of the year, and there's no way for anybody to catch up with them. Well, this year, you got people watching teams like BYU or Colorado,
SMU.
You got SMU, you got people watching other teams as a collective to see if this team makes it, will they pair up with them? If this team pairs up with a blank, how does that look? So, no, I don't think it makes it, less meaningful. I think it makes it more enjoyable. For somebody like us, it fucking sucks sometimes, but as a college football fan, I think it's done what it's supposed to do.
Sheldon, you were in agreement with Tyler. I could see you shaking your head. Why do you feel this way?
Well, I just think it's added a lot more excitement. It makes it so that, if you lose 1 or 2 games, maybe even 3, your season isn't over. You can still compete for a conference title. You can still compete for an at-large bid. I would say for me, I get kind of annoyed by the anti-playoff discourse because, I'm someone who grew up watching FCS football, and the FCS playoffs is like 24 teams. So for me, it was always like, well, how is it that the FCS can have an expanded playoffs, D2 can have playoffs, D3 can have playoffs, but the FBS shouldn't have playoffs? Like, it just doesn't make any sense to me. So I think having the 12-team playoff was a necessary expansion. It'll probably expand more in the future, but I just think having it at 4 was just so limited. There was only a handful of teams that realistically could compete for a title, and I also think it made recruiting a little bit more concentrated at the top because that there's if recruits know that only 4 teams can play for a title, it's more likely you want to play for a big school. And NIL as well. I mean, guys get paid, so you can go to different schools. Transfer portal, you can leave whenever you want. I think there's been a lot more competitive balance.
Yeah, you went from having 6 to 10 teams in play for the major recruits because those are the teams that had a realistic shot at competing for that 14 playoff. Now you got 12 spots. You've got really probably 20 to 25 teams that at any point in the season had a legitimate shot. So you're spreading that wealth around. I mean, and I agree but I'm saying minimum 25, 20, 25. So you're spreading that out a little bit. And when you look at what we have here, I love this because, I mean, when we look at just the SEC, right? So how many times have we put Vandy on a big screener because they're kind of playing upset dog in the SEC this whole damn year, and they're giving every team that has a number next to their name a run for their damn money week in, week out until they ran up against South Carolina. And that was the first team that I've seen really put Vanderbilt away this whole season, one way or the other, right? They've definitely kind of been a team that's played to their competition throughout the season. But it's making those games interesting because you've got these teams that have played well that can play spoiler. You've got so many other it's like poker, right? You got a lot more outs when you're looking at this. So
there's a lot more of a domino effect with a loss, and there's a lot more of a domino effect putting yourself back into contention with a really good win. So it's making games more interesting in November, and it's making more games more interesting in November, and not just those handful that are taking place in one or two conferences where the conference championship is still undecided.
All right.
You know what else I think? Go ahead, Curtis. Go ahead.
I'm going to say this, and I'll go back to you, Tally. We have picked 6 games this week for big screeners. Every single one of the games we have has playoff implications. Every single game. And there's more. There are games we didn't pick that have implications. Go ahead, Tally.
I was just going to say, too, and it comes down to kind of what you want it to be about is the players. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you look at a player like Genty, right?
Yeah.
So I've heard more high school students talk about him this year. Of course, he's having a great year. But when you have a committee that looks at a team, it's kind of like what they do with the March Madness. If a player is hot and his team is starting to get hot, you kind of want them to be in that playoff discussion because that's going to bring views. You know what I'm saying? So for the players to be able to put their skills on display, it's a possibility it gets them to the next level, which is the playoff. So I've absolutely loved what it is to have the expansion. And I'm kind of like Sheldon said, I mean, when you look at D2, D3, even go into high school, then you go into pro, like there's been a playoff. So this wasn't a foreign thing.
Nope.
Everybody who's a football fan grew up with it. And then when you got here, you just accepted, this is the teams that we want to see. This is the teams that you should watch. No, we want to watch some of them other teams too. We want to see can, the underdog beat the the top dog. So exciting, man.
All right, I'm gonna do a couple things here because I'm the one that wrote the question. All the media said it wouldn't matter. They're fucking wrong, and I love it because now they got to go back and somehow turn back around and say, well, and no, you were wrong. Right now, do y'all know how many teams that have at least a chance to make the playoff? Just guess how many teams that they're mathematically saying are not eliminated yet.
32.
I'm gonna say
not
20,
that many. 32 was probably last weekend.
Yeah,
it's 23.
Okay.
There 23. Are 23 teams that can still make the playoff. This is the next to last week of the regular season, and there's 23 teams that can make the playoff. And I'm going to come from a Hokies perspective because as we rolled into November, y'all, we were like, listen, we just keep winning. You just keep winning games and you just get to Charlotte, right? Yeah. Now, that's why we're probably more pissed off because we go lose to Syracuse, and it's like that irritated you, and it's like, well, now more shit's got to happen. But think about this for all of us. Not the best season, right? 5 years ago, well, maybe we can win the ACC, but we ain't going to playoff. We ain't got no chance to win a national title. And I know some people will say, well, nobody has a chance to win a national title. Hush about that. But at the beginning of November, we literally sat here and said, if we can just win, we have a chance. And that's all you got to do. You just got to give people hope. And there are still 23 teams that have hope out there. And I'm hoping in the near future we're one of those 23 teams at this late in the season where it's just like keep winning, get to Charlotte, get in. Shelton, you have something you want to discuss that kind of piqued your interest. So I'm going to let you kind of lead this next little section here.
Yeah, so we obviously, if you're on Twitter chronically like me, I saw a lot of discourse about the SEC. Some people, it seems like a lot of the media people are trying to hype up the SEC that are pro SEC, and that's led to some inevitable pushback because people are saying, well, why should an undefeated or one less Indiana team be left out of the playoff in favor of, 3 or 4 SEC teams? And there's been kind of a back and forth. I will say I see a lot of people really misinterpreting stats and kind of making some bad arguments. As much as we'd like to shit on the SEC, and believe me, it is fun, they have objectively been the best conference this year in football by almost any metric. Like advanced metrics, they have the best win percentage overall in non-conference. They've got the best win percentage against Power 4 teams. So I do think two things can be true at one time. I think the SEC can be the best conference in football but we don't need to hype it up too much, and it needs to be a case-by-case basis. I don't think Indiana, if they finish 11-1 and don't make the Big Ten championship game, there's no reason they should be left out, especially with how good their metrics are. I know they played a bad schedule, but they've still got a few decent wins. And at some point, like, the games have to matter on the field. So I just wanted to kind of get that off my chest.
Yeah, I mean, you got to look at strength of schedule, but you also have to look at, like you said, the games and also the losses. Like, if losses still have to matter. And we had this discussion last year. We're having it again this year. You still need to take into account the games that are played on the field, who won, who lost, what are the common opponents. You got to still look at those things as well as just the raw strength of schedule, and whatever metrics are feeding into that. So I'm with you. I definitely think the SEC is the strongest conference out there, but I don't think it is this head and shoulders monster, especially compared to a Big Ten. But even more so, I think they're still on not a big jump from a Big 12 that's having a pretty good year, and you look at an SMU that's played some really good football as well. So I mean, there's a lot of opportunities out there for these teams, and I think compared to getting four in some cases 5 teams from the SEC in this thing.
Callie, you got anything you want to say on this before I go off?
No, man, I'm good. I'm gonna pass it on to you.
He's gonna pass it on to me. He don't want to talk. Because they know where he works at down there, y'all. That's why he's got to keep it quiet sometimes. But I agree. The SEC is the best conference, but I keep going, and this is what I'll always say. Wins and losses have to matter. Well, they're a great 3-loss team. It's like they lost 3 games. They lost a quarter of their schedule. That has to matter. I don't care. Well, it's tough. There's some tough losses. I don't give a shit. You lost. I don't care. Losing games happens. It continuously happens. It tells some about your team, regardless of competition or not. Like right now, the discussions, Ole Miss is currently in. Ole Miss, likely, LSU is probably an average team. I'm sure Sheldon can pull up the data. And Kentucky is a below average team. And they lost at home and on the road to those teams.
Yep.
So why are they considered a 10th? Well, they beat Georgia. So their one win overcomes 2 not so great losses. Like, it wasn't a great loss. Like, right?
No.
Losses have to matter. And by all means, if you want to see like somebody like me catch hell, let Indiana get left out at 11-1. Robbie's putting on there. He thinks there's going to be a 3-loss SEC team that gets put in over them.
So
that's where you go.
Let's say this, and I'll let you finish if you need to finish there, Curtis. But
go ahead.
Let's tell you where I'm at. So let's pretend that we reset the last 3 weeks, right? We go back to pre-Syracuse. We go up to Syracuse. We take care of business. We take care of Clemson at home. We run the table against Duke and UVA. We're sitting at 3 losses. We're going to Charlotte because things fell the way they needed to fall for us to go there. I, as a Hokie fan, would say if we don't win this fucking game in Charlotte, we do not belong in this motherfucker.
No, I'm with you on that, 100%.
There's teams with a similar win-loss and strength of loss as a Vandy loss, a Miami loss, and a Rutgers loss that people are putting in this conversation. So that's where my problem lies.
There you go. So, yeah, that's where I am. Again, I do think the SEC is the best conference. I think 4 is their number. I think 5 would be one too many in this case. All right. I know some of y'all got to see it. Some of y'all didn't. They did release the playoff standings. And here are the 4 first game matchups if it were to happen today. I want to know which one intrigues you the most. Everybody listen up. So the first game, we've got BYU traveling to the Horseshoe, playing Ohio State. Georgia heading to Penn State, Happy Valley in the middle of December, where the high is 36 degrees as an average. Alabama would head to Notre Dame, also another state where the high is 35 degrees, and then Ole Miss to Indiana, similar. Which of those game intrigues you? Whoever wants to start.
I mean, I'll start. Georgia going to
Penn State for a night game whiteout in December,
like 8 degrees.
Yeah, that to me would be a very intriguing matchup. So yeah, count me in favor of that one.
Tally, what about you?
Yeah, it's kind of, that game, of course, just because I think, just me watching, I think Georgia's the best team. I think they can beat anybody but Alabama. But you put in those conditions, and things do change a little bit. But also you talk about like a Bama-Notre Dame matchup, like just the historical piece of it. I think last time they played, we had a fake girlfriend and all that type of stuff. So
12 years ago,
just things like that, man, and all the
Teo shout out.
Yeah, man, when you got all that kind of stuff, looking at it, it's very intriguing. But I mean, the Georgia and Penn State is probably the most intriguing to me, just because of how I feel about Georgia's team.
What about you, Shelton?
Yeah, I feel like Georgia playing PSC would also be like a fever dream. Just kind of feels weird. But I don't know. I mean, looking at it, I would say that's probably the most hypothetically intriguing matchup. I saw. Well, it's not a question that Boise State could get a bye, in which case they'd play the winner of BYU, Ohio State, which would be also kind of crazy. So I don't know, man. I like that there's a competitive balance of teams. Like BYU has, a good shot, and Boise and all these teams, Indiana. Like, I mean, I'm someone who likes, interesting matchups. I like teams that haven't played each other historically, teams that don't make sense geographically, teams that maybe aren't historically a great program. Just kind of throwing them all together in this big pot and just, seeing what all the craziness that happens. So I'm gonna be entertained either way.
Yeah, that's going to be the best part of it is
Robbie thinks Indiana are paper tigers, man.
Put up what Jim said. James Gilmore put up there. You put it up there a few minutes ago. Them boys from Ole Miss is going to be stuck to the bleachers. They ain't going to know how to move in like 7-degree weather. That's one of the big things people aren't taking into account is if a Southern team, Callie mentioned in the state of Alabama, it's in the 50s. In the middle of December. It's nice. They play a night game at Notre Dame, and it's like 8 degrees. There's kids that ain't never seen below 40 degrees in that place. But for me, Brian let it off. It would be Georgia at Penn State, because I think that would be the scene would be unbelievable. And to be for real, I think, like you said, Tally, Georgia is it's probably the best team. I think they're absolutely the only deserving 2-loss SEC team in. You can they deserve to be in. They deserve to be in over anybody else. But I think with that said, everybody's still shitting on Penn State. Penn State does a couple different things in the red zone. They beat Ohio State. It's not like that gap was so far. Like, it wasn't like it was a 28-7 game. It was literally a touchdown game, that game. So I think that's the most intriguing. Obviously, this is going to change. Obviously, when it does, we will be talking about it a little bit more. I think it's been decided. I think, is everybody pretty much of the first 4 teams, Georgia right now is the one that can make the run?
I think so.
It's either Georgia or Ohio State. I don't really trust any of the other ones with any great confidence. The only thing I'd say is that, when you look at Georgia, right now they're going to probably be on the road unless things change in the next 3 weeks. But that's really the only thing that's probably handicapping them week 1 is having to be on the road versus the other teams that are probably in that discussion are playing at home.
I'll go out of the box. I'm actually kind of a Georgia skeptic just because their offense has been kind of so schizophrenic. I am actually a big believer in Ole Miss. I know that people kind of sleep on them because they lost a few games, but metrically, they have been pretty much a top 5 team in the country this year. It's just those 2 losses to Kentucky by 3 and then LSU by 3. Other than that, they have pretty much wiped the floor with everyone. So I think people are really sleeping on them. I think they're a really good team.
They forgot to play offense for 2 weeks, and
They did.
Burned them.
And it cost them. And it cost them big time. Big time. By the way, everybody is like, you said Ohio State, Brian. That would be the scariest game. And I think the 5-12 is going to be the scariest game because if you're the 12 seed, what do you have to lose? Like Kalani Sitake, if y'all have ever watched him coach, he already does some funky things in games.
Yeah,
I mean, so Sheldon, you know what I'm talking about. He will throw curveballs. If you're a 12 and like you got to go Ohio State, you ain't got a shot. Like we're gonna pull out every trick in the book. We're gonna do funky stuff all night. Why not? Why not? And I think the year a 12 beats a 5, and maybe that's the first year. It's going to be one of those things where we told y'all for years, settle it on the field. Quit the damn paper tiger rankings because Brian Siegler loves pre-rankings. All righty. Let's move on, and we are going to get to our big screeners pick. Like I said earlier, every single game we have selected has massive implications on the playoffs. Some are elimination games. Some are effectively I'm trying to look at one here. One of those games could be playing for a potential bye, depending on what happens. So let's go to it. Brian Siegler, start us off. Where are we going?
We're going to Notre Dame, baby. We're going to South Bend.
No, you're not. This game's in the Bronx.
This game is in the Bronx. You're right.
This game is in the Bronx.
I forgot about this. So I like my pick even better then. Because Notre Dame's getting 14 points here. And that seems like just a little too much. I like what Army's been doing this year. So I'm taking Army here. I think Notre Dame will win this game, but it's not going to be by 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, I'm with you. Being in the Bronx, night game start. 7 o'clock, Yankee Stadium. 14 is just too big a number to lay the way Army's been playing. If this had been like 10, I'd take Notre Dame because I think that's what they win it by, like 31-21. But give me Army as well.
I think Navy's due for a big time cover. Notre Dame. Sorry, I think they'll cover pretty easily. They typically do pretty well against the service academies, and I don't think this will be an exception today.
Same. Notre Dame, give them to me.
He said give them to him. Miranda is going with us, and Jason is going with us. So There we go. Big playoff implications. Why? Notre Dame wins out, Notre Dame's in.
Yep.
Army, if they get this victory, it could propel them potentially to being right there, and all they need is a Boise State slip up. A Boise State slip up and they're in. So there that is. I got the next one. I got the big game of the week. I got number 2 versus number 5. Indiana goes and visits the Horseshoe, the biggest game in Indiana football history. There is not even a single doubt in my mind about this. And they are getting 13.5 points versus Ohio State. I know Indiana does not have as much talent as Ohio State. I know that. But when it's 13.5 points, and every good team that has come across Ohio State this year, they ain't exactly beat shit out of them. So I think 13.5 is too big. I think Ohio State wins. I think it's a hell of a lot closer than 13.5. I am taking Indiana to cover.
Yep, I'm riding with you there. It's 13.5. If you'd have gave me even 10.5, I might would have taken it. But 13.5, that I could see this being a 13 pointer at when it's all said and done. I know we got Robbie in here. Robbie definitely thinks that IU is a big paper tiger right now.
Big
I don't feel that quite that way. I definitely think they're probably a little inflated relative to where their talent level is, but I think they're going to keep it close enough in this one. So I'll take the Hoosiers.
Shelton.
Yeah, I'm taking the Buckeyes. I think this is what I call a worst-case scenario game for Indiana. I think they're going to get destroyed, and that's going to start the discourse about if they should be in the playoff or not. So I could be hilariously wrong, but I think that's how it's going to play out.
Tally?
Yeah, I'm going to go Indiana on this one. I think that Ohio State wins, but I think that Indiana will cover.
It's just too big a number.
Miranda's riding with Sheldon, and so is Jason.
Split house on this one. It's just, to me, it's just too big. And I've seen Indiana score. I've seen them in some low fights as well. Yeah. All righty. Shelton.
Let's go. This is gonna be a cool game. So I think Arizona State is a program that people aren't really talking a lot about this year. They've had a great season, 8-2, kind of out of nowhere. But so too is BYU. So a matchup of two really interesting Big 12 teams. I will take the Cougars to cover minus 3.5.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm with BYU here as well. I think they're going to go and handle business. It's really going to put them in a very good place, playoff wise. So I think they're going to go out there and take care of business. And that's despite ASU really having putting together a very unlikely season, even relative to BYU. I think BYU we thought was going to at least be a factor. I think ASU just kind of came out of nowhere.
ASU comes out of nowhere, unranked in the playoff, 8-2. BYU coming off a big loss to a surging Kansas team. But ASU coming off, I mean, a bunch of us got the ASU game wrong last week with Kansas State. Brian, I'll let you find that for me. I'm with me and Josh are together on this one. Put that up here.
Which one?
The Storm and Mormons to cover, because they're going to win the game outright.
Yeah, I believe BYU too. Big loss last week. I mean, most of their players are probably 32 years old. They just like us. When you go to work, something bad happens one day at work, you just go back the next day and do your job. They grown, man. They got to go home and put the kids to bed. They ain't gonna, they ain't gonna get all upset about it. They just gonna come on back the next week and make something happen. So BYU.
Yep, Miranda's riding with BYU, and Jason is the only one.
He gotta be difficult.
Yep, he's the only one hanging there with Arizona State.
By the way, if y'all didn't know, Robbie was here picking last week. Robbie went 0-6.
Shell, that might not bode well for that Ohio State pick.
Exactly. All right, let's move on. Jonathan Talley, what is your game, my friend?
My game is SMU versus UVA. The reason I picked this game is because, again, SMU is in the hunt right now. And, Virginia's in the hunt as well. They're trying to figure out if they're going to come to Lane Stadium and win and get into a bowl game. So it's going to be pretty interesting to watch this game, but I'm taking SMU because I think SMU is going to beat the dog shit out of them. I don't even think Virginia cares for real. I think that they're just focused on if we get to Lane and we beat them because they're down, then we'll go to a bowl and whatever. We'll spoil their season.
Yeah, I mean, we're hearing things like, Calandria has been running the locker room and all this stuff, and I'm not really sold on what UVA is doing down the stretch here. I think you're right, Tally. I think they are pretty much playing for the Hokie Bowl at this point. So I'm taking SMU. I think they're going to roll. I don't think it's going to be close. I think it could be 3 scores.
Oh yeah, I'm with you. This is SMU kind of had a struggle against Boston College. I watched a lot of that game. And like we played Boston College, they had those moments against us. They had good moments against SMU. I think they're going to beat the dog shit out of them. I think this is going to be a get-right game for SMU as they kind of get into the end of the season and headed towards the ACC championship game.
Yeah, I agree. I just don't like the vibes with UVA right now, and I do think they're going to be overlooking SMU in favor of Tech next week. So SMU big.
Miranda
and Jason are riding across.
Look at the little pony go across the thing there. Look at that.
We're at Colonial Downs, man.
We're at Colonial Downs. All righty. So here we go. We got Miss Miranda. I almost picked this game because what Florida did beating LSU, they got hope again there. Because if they lost LSU and they're like, we're bringing Billy Napier back, and like he just fucking lost another game, fire his ass. But this is big for Ole Miss. We've already discussed Ole Miss. Of all the 2-loss teams, they have the most 2 unimpressive losses. If they go down to the Swamp, lose this game, there should be absolutely no discussion. I don't give a shit if they beat Georgia. That would be 3 losses. Yeah. But anyway, Ole Miss, Florida's getting 10.5. Brian, what are you thinking?
I'm going Ole Miss here. I think this is going to be at least a 2-touchdown victory for the Rebels there. I really don't like what I've seen out of Florida. I know they've had a couple games where they've looked a little better than they did kind of at the start of the year, but I think it's still a very middling team and a team that really struggles to kind of put 4 quarters together. So I'm going to take Ole Miss in this one.
I'm taking Ole Miss too because much like what UVA is doing for SMU, Florida is licking their chops at playing Florida State next week because they know they're going to get to a bowl and they're going to absolutely beat the dog shit out of Florida State. Ole Miss wins by 17. They keep their playoff hopes alive.
I think Florida's going to be in for a big-time hangover, so I got Ole Miss.
Give me Ole Miss. Wayne going to do what he do. Stay in his lane.
Hey. Back-to-back across the board.
Look at that, across the board. Let's see where we're wrong. All right. One more game from the Music Man. He is traveling to Lawrence where the Colorado Buffaloes are playing the Kansas Jayhawks.
Buffalo soldier, dreadlock wrestler. He was a Buffalo soldier in the heart of America, stolen from Africa, brought to America, fighting a rival, fighting for survival. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hey, welcome back to another week of Guitar Licks and Gambling Picks. I'm Jason Long. Now for today, I'm going all the way back to my week 1 pick, which was of course the Buffaloes of the University of Colorado. Now how's their season been going? Pretty good. They probably headed to the Big 12 championship game, maybe the college football playoffs. Shador is probably going to be the number 1 pick in this year's NFL draft. Travis Hunter's looking like the Heisman winner, and Coach Prime might even be headed to Dallas. More on that in a moment. Now this week, Colorado's headed to Kansas to take on the Jayhawks. And Kansas did have a big win this past weekend, but so did Colorado. And Colorado is currently only laying 2.5 points against Kansas. So I'm going to take Colorado minus 2.5 versus the Jayhawks on Saturday. But first, let me talk to Dion for a moment. Now, you're probably not going to hear this, but we do know you do follow social media stuff, so who knows? Rumor is you want to take that Dallas Cowboys job. Well, really? You really want to go back to Jerry World and deal with that clown show? Because it seems like you got a pretty good gig where you're at. Colorado is a chill place to live. Casey Benito's back. The best player in the NBA, the Joker, man, he's hanging out in Denver. And, well, weed's legal, so even when you lose, everybody's going to forget about it anyway. So you might want to think about it before you make that jump back to Texas. But don't take my word for it. There's another Colorado institution that has a song that, well, goes a little like this. This old world is getting to me. There's no trust, no integrity. So I loaded up the kids, took the wife by the arm, and I moved on out to Colorado Farm. Now it's early to rise, crops are all plowed, and it's no surprise. Yeah, city folks find the dog in the dog, and I make my living on Colorado Farm. And I go beer, pickup truck, country music, listen shit, We got Taryn and a kid by Swan. Well, that's what you get on Colorado Farm. Coach proud to stay on Colorado Farm. Hey, Dion, you do you, but I would stay in Colorado. Most importantly, let's go ahead and take care of Kansas. Colorado -2.5 this Saturday. I'll see you all next week.
Jason put a lot of time and effort and thought into that recording.
A little 2-for-1 special, too.
2-for-1 special. Oh, my God. I'm about crying over here, especially using the South Park song.
All right. So it is Colorado getting 2.5 points against Kansas at Kansas. Brian Ziegler, what are
For
you
every
doing?
single reason that Jason just laid out, I'm going with the Buffaloes.
Line of the year is weed is legal there. So even if you lose, they're going to forget about it. Give me Colorado. They're not losing this one. They covered 2.5 easy.
Kansas has actually been one of the unluckiest teams in the country this year, which is why they were only 2.5 dogs to BYU last week, and turns out they won. So I like Kansas a lot better than some people do, but I just think Colorado has too much skill talent, and they're gonna find a way to win the game.
Give me Colorado.
Hey, Miranda, and obviously
across the board. That's 3 in a row, man.
That's 3 in a row. Oh Lord.
Oh, and there it is. There it is.
There it is. Look at the bottom board. Right there.
A lot of sheeps.
A lot of sheeps. We're all sheeps.
Hey. You got to give Jason some props here. This that ASU pick, he went out on a ledge.
He did go out on the ledge there. Not a lot of parity this week. Not a lot of parity. Fellas, anything additionally y'all want to add tonight before we wrap this show up?
I like Ginty for the Heisman.
Ginty for the Heisman. All right.
That's my
I think if it's not Hunter, it's Ginty. So
I like Ginty, man. I ain't gonna lie, I do. But Hunter is just he's different. So we'll see. It'll be fun to see how it shakes out.
Yeah.
Sometimes
I need
buzz
Virginia
matters,
Tech to
and I
win a
feel
football
like
game. That's what I need.
I feel like Hunter is the popular selection, whether it's gonna go that way or not.
Well, but he's doing it though. I mean, if he wasn't doing it, then you could say why. But he's making picks. He's making plays on the offensive side of the ball. What hasn't he done?
Yeah,
that's the whole piece. And it's again, the only Woodson 27 years ago, and Woodson did very minimal on offense that year.
Yeah.
So I think it's Hunter. The only way it wouldn't be Hunter would be the following. If the next three games, because Boise, I think, is automatically in the Mountain West, if Ginty gets to 2,500 yards and 30-plus touchdowns, then because that's Barry Sanders type shit.
Yeah.
Somebody said he's on Barry's pace. Like Barry went for 2,600 in like 11 games. He is not on Barry's pace. That was, I was 5. But I can remember going back and reading that, and it's like, how do you have 2,600 yards in 11 games? Do that math.
Right.
All righty. All right. Well, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast, brought to you by Counts Family Pharmacy in Blacksburg. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Jonathan Talley.
And I'm Sean Moss.
We are part of the College Huddle Network. Check out our website, boundarycornervt.com, and listen to all of our episodes. Brian, did the person get in touch with you?
They did not.
Okay. So we're going to give him one more week. Say the name again.
Jonathan Harris. Jonathan Harris, 8975 is the user on YouTube. Please reach out to us. We've got a fun pyramid to send your way, but we need to know how to get it to you.
If Jonathan Harris has not contacted us by the time Jason's song hits at the top of the program next week, he's void. Sorry if you're listening to this and it's 9:30 next Tuesday, you ain't got one. Sorry. So remember that we are going to redraw. So if you are one of those people that put your names in, Brian still got the thing set up. So all we got to do is press a button and we get another name. Again, Jonathan Harris, if you're out there listening, if you don't get to us by 9 p.m. when we press the button to go live next Tuesday night, which is going to be a fun one because I ain't working Wednesday. I might have a few drinks here.
I'm not working that whole damn week.
I'm working Monday. I got to clean up my email. I got like 350 floating out there. I got to get rid of them. I can't deal with it no more.
I got too many hours to take between now and the end of the year.
Yeah, Brian could take the whole month of Brian's got all these days. He basically ain't working that stuff. But anyways, go to Boundary Corner, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. Appreciate y'all doing all that good stuff. Y'all know all the podcast sources we're on. Y'all know Jason plays us in, plays us out. Check his website, jasonlongmusic.com out. It'll tell you where he's going to be playing down near the Roanoke area. Also, all of his music stuff. We thank y'all for listening. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.